The search for a killer or killers continues tonight. No one is charged in connection with any of the deaths, but there's a man once named as a person of interest because of his connections to several victims. Lee Peck and Teresa Schmidt have been working on that part of the story.
Cynthia, we tracked down Frankie Richard and the woman whose statements to investigators put him in jail and then set him free.
Frankie, your name keeps coming up for whatever reason in this investigation. What do you have to say about that? Some people would call you a suspect. What do you have to say about that?
I think it's crazy, you know. I knew all the girls.
Back in May of 2007, Frankie Richard found himself at the center of the investigation.
I've never had any problems with any of them girls. I was friends with all of them, and they all used to come around here.
It was just 3 days after the discovery of Whitnei Dubois' body that the statement of Tracee Chaisson would turn the eyes of investigators toward Frankie and his niece, Hannah Connor. Based on Tracee's story, both were suspected of involvement in the murder of Kristen Lopez. Hannah was arrested in Vermilion Parish. Frankie was already in jail in connection with an alleged rape, with bond set at $750,000. In the days that followed, Frankie would be questioned about the deaths of the then 4 victims and his contact with at least 3 of them in the final days of their lives: Loretta, Kristen, and Whitnei.
He's a person of interest based on the testimony of Tracee Chaisson. His name keeps coming up in every single one of them. Sometimes it's from the streets and so forth and so forth. We have interviewed Frankie. Nobody has been ruled out. We keep everybody in.
Frankie says he knew Kristen since she was a small child and could never have been involved in her death.
Kristen was a little girl. Kristen would call me Uncle Frankie.
Just before her disappearance, Kristen, along with Tracee Chaisson and a woman named Connie Seiler, visited Uncle Frankie in his room at the Jennings Budget Inn where he was staying.
I was having some problems with Tracee and Kristen taking things that didn't belong to them. So I told Connie not to bring them back to my room.
According to Frankie, they all left in Connie's truck. He says that was the last time he saw Kristen alive.
I feel bad about that because maybe if I let them come back to my room, Kristen might still be alive.
Then there's victim number 4, Whitnei Dubois. Frankie admits Whitnei was at his house just hours before her body was discovered.
She was found a couple of hours later on the gravel road.
But neither Frankie or Hannah would ever be indicted for Kristen's murder or any of the other deaths after Tracee Chaisson recanted her story.
She told me that she was coerced into doing it by the officers that was questioning her. Why she would do something like that, is beyond me.
Still, Frankie is closely connected to the women. He says they did drugs together.
I'm really fighting it to stay clean, you know.
I mean, are you a crack addict?
Am I a crack addict? I've smoked crack for 20 years. They all, every last one of these girls that I knew, I've gotten high with.
In addition to smoking crack with the girls, Frankie claims to have been intimate with almost all of them, saying, quote, drugs and sex go together.
Have you ever had sex with any of these girls?
Yes, I have.
How many of them?
Almost all of them.
At one time? At one time or another?
Yeah, at one time or another.
Did you ever have sex with Whitnei?
No, Whitnei was a child. I have kids older than Whitnei. Whitnei is another one that would call me Uncle Frankie.
When it comes to the investigation, Frankie says he's cooperated and taken a polygraph test, as well as submitted a DNA sample.
I have told them everything that I know, and which is not a lot. I mean, when it comes to what happened to them girls.
Maintaining his innocence, he says having the finger pointed at him has been hard on his family.
My kids could not go to school because of what the kids was telling them, other people was telling them their daddy wasn't nothing but a murderer and a rapist.
While most turn their backs on Frankie, others, like Bobby Foreman, stick by his side.
I knew there was no way that Frankie Richard could have done that to them girls.
No way.
No way. And I told everybody that they would say, oh, I heard your partner Frankie got arrested, that he caught him for murder. He looks like Charles Manson on the news and all that with that long hair. I said, that's a bunch of lies. I said, they trying to railroad Frankie because of his reputation.
And God knows that I didn't do that.
So who did and why? Frankie says he has his suspicions.
But unlike some of the people that are around here, I'm not just going to go saying names without any proof. I don't think it's the same person doing it all. And why, I have no idea.
You heard Frankie Richard mention a woman named Tracee Chaisson made up the story told to deputies about him.
I managed to track down Tracee to talk to her about Frankie. She was surprisingly candid about her crack addiction and what she has done to support it. Tracee Chaisson is well familiar with the 8 women who died, more so with Loretta Chaisson and Kristen Gary Lopez.
I know Loretta Chaisson was my first cousin. I knew Kristen was my girlfriend. Shay was my friend. Muggy was my friend. Brittany was like my niece, and the rest of them I knew from the streets of being on drugs.
She knows what it's like to be a drug addict.
I'm fighting the addiction. You know, sometimes I go on, you know, binges, but lately I haven't been doing it. I'm trying to stay off the streets because I have 4 children that need me, and you know, my older 2 children lost their father, so they really need me. They don't need to lose their mother.
She admits having sold her body for drugs and money, saying you do what you have to do for your drug of choice.
You know, it's easier for a woman because we could prostitute ourselves. You know, we sell our body for either drugs or money. Men pick me up on the streets, you know, and I go and I handle, you know, sexual favors for money or drugs.
Why do you do that?
To support my drug habit. I don't do it no more. I do it because crack is a drug that's very hard to overcome.
Are you still hooked?
No, ma'am. I have been clean off of it since. I've been clean off of it since February, but I have went on sprees on it, you know. But I don't hang on the streets and I don't hang in high drug areas. If I do it, you know what I'm saying, I do it in a safe environment.
Are you under the influence of any drugs right now?
No, ma'am, I'm not.
Chaisson is the one whose statement led to the arrest of Frankie Richard. She says she made it up under pressure.
I just wanted to be left alone. I could not sleep. I could not do nothing. These people was picking me up, you know, 1 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Anytime that anybody would say something, they'd come pick me up, and I was just tired of them. I wanted them out of my life.
What did you tell the detectives about Frankie?
I just told them the story that I heard on the street. I'd rather not go into details.
Well, and so what is the truth?
The truth is I know nothing. I don't know nothing. The truth is I don't know who it is. Do I actually believe that he hurt any of these girls? No, I don't. Because, I've been where he's protected me, you know what I'm saying? He's never harmed me. I've been in situations with Frankie Richard, you know what I'm saying, where he's never hurt me. You know, I lied on Frankie. I lied on Frankie and went back and told the people that I lied.
How do you feel about lying on Frankie?
I couldn't sleep.
Chaisson denies any knowledge of what's happened to the women.
My name is Room from 07 with Kristen. You know, people think I know stuff and I really don't know nothing.
Yeah, some people seem to think that you were the last or one of the last to see some of these girls. What do you say about that?
That people are going about what they hear. A lot of these girls I didn't even hang around with. The only ones I really hung around with was Kristen and Loretta.
What do you think's happening to these girls?
I have no idea.
What do you think should be done to figure it out?
That Jennings that they need to get on their job. Jennings Police needs to handle their business. They should have never let it go this far.
Well, I mean, what do you think is killing them? Do you think are they ODing, or are they being murdered, or what do you think is happening?
I have no idea. You know, I'm not there when they find the girls. Because we come from poor families, and we come from this side of the tracks, and because we're addicted to drugs, and because we sell our bodies for drugs, that we're just throwaway cases. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it's fair. I just hope that they bring justice, and that the people in Jeff Davis Parish know that I really know nothing about these cases, and that I lied and I went back and told the truth, and that's why my name keeps getting brought up in this.
Nor does she say who may be responsible.
It could have been, you know, a bad drug deal. It could have been somebody lost, maybe somebody, you know, it might be somebody that, you know, lost sick in their head, or somebody's, you know, maybe their mama or their daddy or their girlfriend or their wife, they lost somebody to this drug world, and they're angry, you know what I'm saying? So they take it out on other people. Other than that, that's all I can say. I don't know nothing. I believe that, you know, they're in a better place. You know, they don't have to live on the streets, and, you know, they don't have to, some people don't have a family like I do, you know. Some people don't have a mama that'll let them back in.
Sheriff Edwards says he won't get into the specifics of the investigation, but he admits Tracee Chaisson remains on their radar as they continue to search for answers. Tracee and Frankie talked to us hoping to clear their names, but no doubt they'll remain a part of this investigation.
And there's controversy surrounding that investigation, including a pickup truck bought by a deputy from an inmate and missing money. That's coming up next.